I'm saying even rights have responsibilities, and that within those responsibilities are responsibilities and order. Otherwise, it's chaotic. I'll go you one further. You want to ban drag show readings to children.
To minors, yes.
Why?
Why?
What are you protecting?
Why can we prohibit children from voting, those under 18 from voting?
Why are you banning?
But also that.
Is that free speech? Are you infringing on that performer's free speech?
They can continue to exercise their free speech, just not in front of a child.
Why?
Because the government does have a responsibility to protect.
I'm sorry?
The government does have a responsibility in certain instances to
What's
protect
the
children.
leading cause of death amongst children in this country? And I'm going to give you a hint. It's not drag show readings to children.
He walked into that one.
He did.
So what is it?
I'm presuming you're going to say it's firearms.
No, I'm not going to say it like it's an opinion. That's what it is. It's firearms. More than cancer, more than car accidents. And what you're telling me is you don't mind infringing free speech to protect children from this amorphous thing that you think of. But when it comes to children that have died, you don't give a flying fuck to stop that, because that
that's the
shall
one
not
he
be
said. I
infringed.
apologize.
That is hypocrisy at its highest order.
All right. Yeah, that's the end of that. All right, so, man, that's a lot there. A lot to dissect there.
I mean, he kept on going. Like, that's. I mean, if you see what I was saying during the break, what he was doing was he's framing this argument, chaos versus order, and Nathan walked right into it. Nathan should have made his own argument rather than following Jon's circular logic. And maybe my logic's a little off here, but he's talking about kids. What are we going to do with kids? We regulate kids more? I mean, they can't buy firearms, right? So maybe do something with the schools, right? But all that Stewart wants to do is say, get registered. Make sure that you know who the difference is between a good guy and a gun and a bad guy.
You have to listen to someone when they say, I don't want to ban guns, but listen to that but. And then they use the term universal background checks. Just think about that. Think about that. Universal background checks. That's very dangerous. And I'm going to tell you why. So we just had a court case in Texas where some teenagers took the state of Texas to court for their right to carry a gun in Texas. So now, as a result of that case, because they won, 18, 19, 20-year-olds can constitutional carry, and they can get their license. But here's the problem. State law has not changed. There's currently no bill to fix the law, because the law still says that, you have to be 21, to constitutionally carry. So some police departments are saying, guess what? We don't care what this court case says. Dallas Police Department has come out and said this. Some smaller police departments in the state have come out and said this. We don't care what this court case says. If an 18, 19, 20-year-old does something, we reserve the right to arrest them. And guess what? We will arrest them, put them in jail. And then guess what? They're going to have to hire an attorney, bail out of jail. And they're looking at spending $10,000 to get that case dropped or dismissed, quoting this case here in December. That took place.
If they don't have a license,
right? This is without a license.
Yeah.
Now DPS has released a letter to say, hey, to all law enforcement agencies that guess what? They're issuing licenses to carry handgun to 18, 19, 20-year-olds. They're issuing a license to them, and so they have to follow that. So they acknowledge the license, but they don't have to acknowledge the constitutional carry aspects of it, and they're choosing not to do that. So it's a trap. If I was a black teenager, 18, 19, and 20, there's no way in the world I would carry a gun in this state at all. I would go ahead and get the license.
Yeah, get a license.
Exactly. So when they say universal background checks, take a listen to this. Well, guess in order for you to purchase a gun from a gun store, you have to be, a handgun. Let me correct that. To purchase a handgun from a gun store, you have to be 21 years of age or up. Got to be 21 to purchase that handgun. All right, so now that you can, at 18, 19, 20 years old, you can get your license to carry handgun, you can carry the handgun, you still cannot purchase that handgun from a gun store until you turn 21. So the only way you can get that gun is a private sale as a gift. If you pass universal background checks, that means that all sales and transfer of firearms have to be done in a gun store. That would mean that gun stores got to be 21. So that would take the ability for 18, 19, 20 years old to not to even be able to get their hands on the gun. They can have a license,
And
but
you
they
know
won't
what?
be able to get the
You
gun
know what
because
this
they
is?
pass universal background checks.
And you know what this is going to do? It's going to force these people and average people, not just kids, but especially kids, to go in the black market.
Hmm.
You know, I mean, especially how it is now. If you're an 18, 19-year-old and you could go buy a gun in a gun store, that is a lot better. And because they're going to give you some sort of background check.
Correct.
It's a lot better than saying, well, if you're 18, 19 years old, you have to have someone else buy the gun for you.
Yeah. And gun stores are governed by the federal government, so they have to follow federal law. So that's why the handgun transfer is 21 years of age.
Right.
So long guns, rifles, or shotguns is 18. You can buy
Exactly.
AR-15 from a gun store at 18, but for a handgun, got to be 21.
Right, but if you cut off access to this
Mhm.
is almost like the war on drugs in many ways.
Mhm.
People are going to go to the black market.
Correct. Yes.
I mean, you and I've already talked. I don't really want. I think you might have said it on air, but I don't. I don't want to say how. But many kids in Austin are getting their hands on guns in crazy ways,
that is correct.
and it's not because someone's giving it to them. Not because someone's buying it from a gun store. It's not because any of that.
Right.
It's crazy just how these kids are doing this, and it's all done on the black market.
And so Jon Stewart wants to create more laws. And whenever you create more gun laws, who do these gun laws affect? Anybody?
Legal gun owners.
They're going to affect the black and brown community because those are the people that are actually locked up in prison
You're right.
when you look at the numbers. And so the more gun laws you create, the more black and brown people are going to, police are going to use this as a tool to lock up more black and brown people. And that's what's going to happen. So,
And when you see a gun, it's going to make you want to shoot them. I mean, yeah, I mean, that's the other thing about Jon Stewart's logic is he's over here sounding more like a right winger than a left winger. Like he's like, oh, well, the cops, you got to make sure the cops. It's like, you want the cops to be comfortable walking into someone's house, putting
Right.
their hand on their gun and being able to use it. No, I think individuals should be armed so that way these cops are less likely to pull their firearm, less likely to escalate this.
All right. Yeah.